What's up guys, Tommy Bowie here from Movie Rewind, and today we will be reviewing the Scooby-Doo movie. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I was a massive fan of Scooby-Doo as a kid. I collected all of the toys, all of the DVDs. I was even a member of the Scooby-Doo Club. I don't know if they're still around or not, however, when I was growing up, yeah, the Scooby-Doo Club did exist. So when I was 2 years old when the Scooby-Doo movie was released in 2002, so I didn't get to see it in cinemas. However, I did grow up watching it, and there was something inside me which always thought this movie was a bit off. It just didn't seem like Scooby-Doo. So I'm just going to give some of my opinions on this movie and whether this movie actually holds up and whether it actually represents the show in a true light. So in terms of character development, this movie actually starts off with some promise. It starts off in the middle of a Mystery Inc. case, and I actually thought, well, that's actually a good idea. However, about 10 minutes in, the Mystery Inc. gang decide to break up. Now, for anyone who hasn't seen the show, this would not make sense. There is no actual feel that they are all working together as a team. The characters are quite off from their cartoons, and the cartoon characters, no offence, they were pretty bland. However, these characters are even blander. There's no real development done to hardly any of them. Probably Shaggy and Scooby-Doo are the only ones which get appropriate character development. All the others are kind of just standing around acting like jackasses, and that's the thing. The majority of the main cast are acting like jackasses in this movie, and you don't feel any investment in the characters because you just think, wow, they're acting like a dick. I hope they get their comeuppance. So character development gets a 2 out of 10 because it's really bad in this movie. So the performances in this movie are pretty bad. Freddie Prinze Jr., who actually plays Fred Jones, I think won a Razzie for his performance. So yeah, the performances are not very good. However, the only performance which is any good is, of course, Matthew Lillard's brilliant portrayal of Shaggy Rogers. Now that is straight out of the cartoons, and I can understand why Matthew Lillard now voices Shaggy in the cartoon series, because he is brilliant in this movie. I have no problem with him. Unfortunately, he doesn't save the other kind of bad performances in this movie. So performances does get a 3 out of 10 because they're pretty bad. There's only one standout. So in terms of effects, these effects are pretty awful. The main effect is, of course, on Scooby-Doo, as well as the CGI monsters they have. And yeah, it just doesn't hold up. Scooby-Doo kind of looks like a warped gremlin in this. He doesn't really resemble Scooby-Doo. And when you think, when this movie came out, the Lord of the Rings films were being released, so there was no real excuse. I know this movie had a smaller budget, however, I think it could have done better than this. I mean, come on. So effects gets a 3 out of 10 because the effects, yeah, they're pretty atrocious in this movie. So I've kind of already glossed over the story and writing. However, I don't know what they were doing when they wrote this movie. I think they must have been high or something. So basically the story is that, as I've already said, the Mystery Inc. team break up, and then they are all sent to an island where apparently there is a curse and there's also some real life monsters. And yeah, the real life monsters, yeah, it's been done before in Scooby-Doo, and I understand in a live action movie you want to show off, good effects and you want to make an intriguing story. However, yeah, it really doesn't work because for the majority of the time in this movie, the Mystery Inc. gang are divided and they don't seem to see eye to eye. And that's just, no, that doesn't resemble the cartoon. Yeah, they're kind of dressed like the characters from the cartoon. However, no, they're just all jackasses. I can't really say anything. They're all jackasses in this movie. And they all act like jackasses. And when they finally get together at the end, you don't feel like anything's been accomplished. You don't feel like they've actually developed on their differences and understood why they all hated each other. This movie, I really want to meet the guy who came up with this story and thought it was a good idea. Because no way, no. And that is why story and writing gets a 3 out of 10. Because, no, it's just ridiculous. Now for the special recognition, I mean, I've talked a lot of rubbish about this movie, however, I do actually think that this movie was misunderstood, and the underlying theme is I do actually think this movie is meant to be a parody. I don't think it's meant to be taken seriously in terms of the story, the writing, all the performances. I do actually think, in terms of representing the show, I think it's trying to be a parody of the show, kind of showing just how ridiculous the show was, which I can kind of get. I don't think it handles it very well. However, I can kind of see that there might be an idea here to make it kind of a self-aware parody. There are quite a few scenes in this which appear quite self-aware. So I honestly do think that this could be a parody, and for that I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10, because there could be an underlying meaning here. It's sad that everything around it is just a train wreck, that no one really focuses on that aspect. So in conclusion, I believe that the Scooby-Doo movie is trying to be a self-aware parody movie. However, the performances and the story and writing just let this movie down as a whole. And that is why it is going to get a 16 out of 50, which earns it a grade 5 ranking. Now that is very, very low. And this movie, it isn't Scooby-Doo. It's not a proper Scooby-Doo movie. I honestly just think this movie was a letdown. However, the sequel, now that could have some potential. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed my Scooby-Doo movie review. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. And I'm sorry that I might have had a croaky throat and been coughing a couple of times. It's because I'm recovering from a cold. Hopefully it'll be gone by the time I do another review. So I will see you in another one. See ya!